Now at noon, Legacy Health nurses vote to unionize while Providence healthcare workers continue their nearly month-long strike. The latest developments in both stories. Plus, what the city calls a breach of trust in St. Helens. A new report details abuse of power by the city's former police chief. And later, a reason to go outside in the cold this weekend. The Portland Winter Light Festival opens up tonight. We're going to bring you a sneak peek at the event as KGW News at noon starts right now. And we're going to start today's News at Noon with a live look outside. Our Pioneer Courthouse Square cam shows off the bricks on this Friday afternoon. Mostly sunny skies above downtown Portland, but oftentimes, Chris McGinnis, the sunny days can be the coldest in the winter.
I mean, it was pretty chilly out there this morning, right? A lot of folks waking up to below freezing temperatures, not necessarily at PDX, but cool enough. And now it's nice to see the sun breaking out over downtown. We are up to 40 degrees last check with a light south-southwest breeze out there. Satellite radar loop across the region showing the cloud cover continuing to diminish here in the I-5 corridor. Snow showers, though, continuing across eastern Oregon, the Columbia Basin. Actually, as you get out east of the Dalles, out towards Arlington and Pendleton, you folks still under winter weather advisories and, in fact, winter storm warnings for some of the higher terrain for a few more hours. The snow has been fairly continuous out there. Here's a look at the roads out near Pendleton. That's I-84. And as you get east of Pendleton, it's a winter wonderland. So trucks, of course, required to chain up out there. Again, a few more hours of wintry weather for them, and then the snow should begin to subside. West side of the state, we are clearing out. 39 in Vancouver, 40 downtown, 41 in Sherwood at last check. And Salem has bounced all the way up to 45 degrees on this noon hour here on Friday. All right, the plan for the remainder of today. I've got Portland partly cloudy to maybe partly sunny for a little while, so enjoy the sun breaks now. 42, maybe 43 for a high. The clouds begin to thicken up later today. We have, by the way, eclipsed 10 hours of daylight with our sunset at 5:26. We are tracking the potential for more low elevation mixed rain and snow overnight tonight. And Drew, I'm going to walk you through that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, we'll see you then. In the meantime, our top story here at noon. Nearly 2,300 local nurses at 3 legacy hospitals have voted to unionize. The Oregon Nurses Association now represents more than 1,000 nurses at Legacy Emmanuel and close to 600 nurses at both Legacy Good Samaritan and Randall Children's Hospital. Efforts to unionize have come and gone over the past 30 years, but the nurses union says this most recent and now successful effort by Legacy nurses began just over 3 years ago. In a statement to KGW, Legacy Health says they respect the rights of their employees to choose whether or not to be represented by a union, and they say they're committed to establishing a productive dialogue with union representatives. We also have an update on the ongoing strike involving Providence healthcare workers. We should find out today if doctors at St. Vincent Hospital will approve their new contract offer. Some doctors we talked to said the plan is to vote yes on the deal, but we also learned that does not mean doctors at St. V's will necessarily return to work right away. They said they're actually going to stay on the picket line if St. Vincent nurses don't approve their latest contract offer.
We will hold the line until we all walk in there together to get a fair contract. They have now agreed that physicians can be involved in decisions about how safe the unit is, if it's too busy, safe staffing, night differential, hiring additional help, all very reasonable things that previously they told us they would not ever be able to do, and yet now suddenly they are.
Voting on this specific contract at Providence St. Vincent ends at 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll have more coverage on all these developments involving Providence and now Legacy, too, coming up later this afternoon and this evening. That includes KGW's Blair Best taking a more in-depth look at the unionizing efforts by Legacy nurses. That's happening tonight on The Story starting at 6:30. A judge sentenced a 19-year-old to 20 years in prison this morning for manslaughter and several other charges. 2 summers ago, then 18-year-old Julius Whitehurst was driving under the influence in southeast Portland with several other teens in the car. He crashed into another car, killing 2 of the teens and injuring several other people. Whitehurst also left the scene and later showed up at a hospital denying that he had anything to do with the crash. Later that same month, Whitehurst fired 15 rounds and led police on a chase before he was arrested and hit with charges stemming from both the shooting and the crash. 13-year-old Camarion Smith was one of the teens who died in the crash. His mother shared her pain in court.
Every time you close your eyes, every time you take a breath, every time you do anything, I hope you feel the pain that you have caused for each family.
It's not always closure, though, for everybody who's involved, though it certainly helps people maybe find some way or some piece that can help them move forward.
Whitehurst did not give a statement in court, but his attorney says he has expressed his remorse. Serious allegations, meanwhile, have come to light against the former chief of police in St. Helens. A new 108-page third-party report details accusations against Brian Greenway that include everything from creating a hostile work environment and filing fake police records to sending pornographic messages to people who worked under him. He was placed on administrative leave back in October before he resigned last month. We spoke to City Administrator John Walsh about this latest news in what has been months of bad headlines coming out of St. Helens.
We're at a place where there's a breach of trust with our community leaders here, and that we had employees that had been experiencing misconduct. That misconduct was not being reported.
We reached out to the lawyer representing the former police chief, but haven't heard back. We've also learned that one of the St. Helens high school teachers accused of sexual abuse has officially been fired. Former choir teacher Eric Stearns faces 18 charges of sexual abuse involving 12 victims, and he was fired during Wednesday's school board meeting. Stearns is in jail while his attorneys push for a new judge in his case. Police arrested both Stearns and retired teacher Mark Collins in November as part of an investigation into sex abuse at St. Helens High School. Oregon City Police are asking for help to find this missing 82-year-old. They say George Lloyd, who also goes by Tom, left his home on Caulfield Street at about 11:30 yesterday morning, but never came back. Police say he usually walks between his home and Fred Meyer along Malala Avenue. He was last seen wearing a black jacket, blue jeans, and carrying an oxygen tank. Police say he has a medical condition and doesn't have his medication with him. If you see him, you should call 911. We know penalties are getting tougher for people who take part in street racing and street takeovers, and it's all thanks to a bill that went into effect 2 years ago that makes reckless driving and organizing a street racing event both Class A misdemeanors. The bill also freed the way for law enforcement to take and keep any cars involved in street racing. So in other words, people who are caught can lose their car and never get it back. There have been 14 examples of this take and keep punishment in Multnomah County since the law took effect. And new Multnomah County District Attorney Nathan Vasquez says he plans to keep it going.
We're absolutely going to be forfeiting vehicles for people that engage in street racing, and we're going to be holding people accountable.
Police say they hope the punishment sends a strong message to street racers and prevents street takeovers from happening. All right, Portland's 10th annual Winter Light Festival kicks off later tonight. Hundreds of displays will brighten up the city through next Saturday, the 15th. Here's KGW's Thomas Schultz with a preview.
So this piece is titled Ascension. It's made with infinity mirror.
Alice, an artist, knows lights like a mathematician gets algebra.
Kind of creates this kaleidoscopic effect.
For the second year in a row, Alice made the trek to Portland from Southern California for one reason: the Winter Light Festival.
It's a little bit dark and dreary here, so it really brightens everybody's life and come out here and just enjoy themselves.
We're like one of the top light festivals in the world.
Chris Herring is the co-founder of the festival. He says starting at 6 o'clock Friday night, artists will be stationed across Portland all week long, showcasing exhibits like these.
Portland is like a city full of artists.
For our 10th year, people are super excited to come out.
This year will be the biggest festival yet. More than 250 exhibits will shine in the night sky, and organizers hope it'll wake people from winter hibernations.
Come be festive with us,
while celebrating what makes Portland unique.
Other people out there will recognize that we are a Class A art city.
A top-notch art city, bringing in some of the best artists from around the country.
And everybody has a really great time.
In Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
So real quick, if you want more information about this event, including the schedule between now and next Saturday, you can text the word lights to that number on your screen. It's 503-226-5088, and we will text you back with a link to a full article on the Portland Winter Light Festival at KGW.com.